he finished, he presented. Honorable Gilbert, he presented. No, I am the one speaking. I am the one speaking. I gave, Gilbert did not complain, everybody. And this time, we are past there. We are at committee stage. Can we go to committee stage? Two, you go to committee stage.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, the committee proposes to amend clause 2 of the bill as follows. The first amendment in sub-clause 1 by deleting the words any person who acts as. The second one by substituting for sub-clause 2 the following.
Procedure.
For avoidance of doubt, this act applies to an agent of a foreigner who engages in any of the following activities through any means, including the use of digital platform.
I will give you after.
Engage in political activities in Uganda to further the interests of a foreigner.
I'll give you when to reach
B.
that
Solicit, collect, disperse, or dispense contributions, loans, money, or other things of value for the purpose of financing or sponsoring political activities to further the interests of a foreigner. C. Represent the interest of a foreigner before any agency or official of government of Uganda for the purpose of engaging in political activities in Uganda. D. Recruit, contract, engage, enter into a partnership or sponsor any person in Uganda to promote the interests of a foreigner for the purpose of engaging in political activities in Uganda. E. Agree, consent, assume, or purport to act as, or who is or holds himself or herself out to promote the interest of a foreigner against the interests of Ugandans.
No, I have a procedural issue to raise.
F, without the approval of cabinet, influences the development of a policy of government or implements a policy of government. And G, influence the public to oppose the policy of government. Another amendment, Madam Chair, by inserting immediately after subclause 3 the following. For avoidance of doubt, and notwithstanding the provisions of this section, this act shall not apply to monies or funding received from a foreigner by a supervised institution or a person or institution regulated by a regulated body and an act of parliament for purposes of meeting its regulatory requirements or for purposes of undertaking its commercial, licensed or permitted activity under an act of parliament. B, a health or medical facility for purposes of performing an activity permitted under the laws of Uganda to be undertaken by a health or medical facility. C, an academic or research institution for purposes of funding research and innovation or any other education activity permitted under the laws of Uganda to be undertaken by an academic or research institution. D, a person for commercial, domestic, or family use. E, faith-based organizations for activities that are connected with the mission of the faith-based organization. Another amendment under clause 5, nothing in this, not clause 5, clause 2, paragraph 5, nothing in this act shall be construed as prohibiting or requiring compliance with this act for lawful foreign direct investment, portfolio investment, diaspora remittances, export proceeds, trade finance, commercial loans, humanitarian assistance, technical assistance, grants, concessional financing, development assistance, or any other lawful foreign exchange inflow or outflow and related activities. Justification, Madam Chair, to harmonize the provision with the scope of the bill as provided in clause 2, and to clarify the scope of the bill to avoid the possibility of extending the bill to any person and activity beyond the scope of the bill. I beg to move.
Honorable Minister.
Right, Honorable Speaker and members, I concur. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, we didn't have opportunity, but first of all, I wanted to be on record that the committee have done great work compared to the original bill. Because, Madam Chair, I engage a lot on international issues and finance. If we had, you have opted to leave it out. If we had handled the interpretation clause, it would have made the remaining clause for us to move smoothly. But you have opted like that. It is now going to create for us, because interpretation means a lot. It's virtually 90%. Issues of foreign agent is what has disturbed us for all this time. So I wanted to request, Madam Chair, that after handling clause 2, we go back to clause 1, handle interpretation, because it sorts out the bill entirely and really closes the matter.
I agree with you.
Thank you.
I put a question that clause 2 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say and the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 2 as amended.
I put a question that clause 2 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 1.
Clause 1.
Madam Chair, the committee proposes to amend clause 1 as follows. The first one is by substituting for the definition of agent of a foreigner the following. Agent of a foreigner means a person who engages in any of the activities referred to in section 2 as an agent, representative, or employee of a foreigner on the order, request, supervision, or under the direction or control of a foreigner, or while being financed or subsidized by a foreigner. Another amendment in the definition of disruptive activities by deleting paragraph C. Another one.
E.
Paragraph E. Another one is by substituting for the definition of foreigner the following. Foreigner includes a non-Ugandan citizen who engages, undertakes, supervises, controls, finances, or subsidizes the activities specified in section 2.2. B, a foreign government, consulate, high commission, embassy, or other diplomatic mission which engages, undertakes, supervises, controls, finances, or subsidizes the activities specified in section 2.2. And C, a corporation, non-government organization, or any legal entity, incorporated, unincorporated, or registered outside Uganda, which engages, undertakes, supervises, controls, finances, or subsidizes the activities specified in section 2.2. D, an international or multinational organization which engages, undertakes, supervises, controls, finances, or subsidizes the activities specified in section 2.2. Another amendment by deleting the definition of person. Another one by inserting the following definitions in their appropriate alphabetical order. F, activities means any activity aimed at influencing the enactment of legislation, the formulation of policy, or the decision making of government or the people of Uganda, and includes A, fundraising, sponsoring, registering, nominating, supporting, or campaigning for a candidate in an election. B, registering, funding, and campaigning for a political party in an election. C, fundraising, campaigning, canvassing for support, supporting or opposing a political party or a candidate in an election. D, any activities aimed at influencing the outcome of an election. E, any activities aimed at influencing the will and the consent of the people of Uganda to determine who shall govern them and how they should be governed. F, any activities aimed at influencing, imposing, or normalizing ideologies which are inconsistent with the Constitution or which conflict with any culture, customs, or norms of any of the communities listed in the third schedule of the Constitution. Another definition is interest of a foreigner, means interest of a foreigner that are aligned with the principles I will come again. Interest of a foreigner means interests of a foreigner that are not aligned with the principles and laws adopted by Uganda. Another, I will come again. Interest of a foreigner means interests of a foreigner that are not aligned with the principles and laws adopted by government. Interests of Uganda means the national interests of Uganda based on the principles of national interest and common good enshrined in the national objectives and directive principles of state policy as provided for in the Constitution, laws of Uganda, and government policy. Foreign policy means a policy developed by a foreigner. Government policy means a statement, decision, or actions of government on how a sector is regulated or governed, issued in accordance with the Constitution and laws of Uganda. Interest of Ugandans means the interests of Uganda. Justification: to limit the application of the bill to only agents of foreigners and not any other person. Second, the amendments are intended to harmonize the definitions with the scope of the bill as provided in Clause 2. The other one is under the definition of foreigner to exclude the application of the bill to Ugandan citizens residing outside Uganda. To remove the power of the minister to declare any person a foreigner under the definition of a foreigner. And under the definition of the phrase disruptive activities, to remove the restriction on the recruitment and employment of persons, which was broad. And finally, to define words and phrases which are used in the bill in order to enhance clarity. I beg to move, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Baka, where would you place the honorary councils? Like the Kirumiras, like the Wawamunos, who represent other countries in our country?
There are diplomatic missions, Madam Chair.
If they are diplomatic missions, then you're going to consider them foreigners.
Right, Honorable Chair. Naturally, a diplomatic mission has an interest of a foreign state. That's their interest here. So if I take up that job as a diplomat, as an honorary counsel here, I'm here to represent the interests of the other countries. So they'll be covered by that. But only if they do the activities in 2.2. Only if they do the activities in 2.2. In Clause 2.2.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. We, in the definition, we have talked of foreign policy to refer to the policy of foreigners. Are we sure in the whole law we don't mention foreign policy of Uganda? Because there is, I believe there is where we say we are protecting also our interests like foreign policy. So now if we limit foreign policy to mean policies of the outside, what about our foreign policy?
Chair, the second one, it answers together.
Well, that one is qualified later on in the bill. It's clearly stated foreign policy of Uganda. Everywhere else where you have foreign policy, it means a foreign government. But foreign policy of Uganda is clearly set out.
Thank you, Chair. Can the Attorney General also help me in the cases of situation where you have dual citizenship? In the cases of dual citizenship, because I know there are Ugandans who have acquired dual citizenship, how do we handle them regarding this issue of foreigner? Because I know even in this house.
Even those are citizens of
Yes.
Uganda, so they're excluded.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, the issue of having political parties, because this clause basically, the purpose of this bill is to deny political parties and civil society to receive resources that are not declared. We have the NRM that have been receiving funding from partner parties like from China. Now with this, they are putting a rope on their neck. That is true. So I'm just telling you, you're putting a rope on your neck.
Honorable, if I had it well, all those with the acts of parliament, we have the Political Parties Act. All those are entitled, including FDC. So you're not excluded. You can receive your money from wherever because you have an act of parliament that supports you.
Chair.
Huh? Yes?
Right Honorable Speaker and members, I want to agree with the chairperson, except I want to refer members to interest of a foreigner and edit out principles and replace them with policies and laws adopted by government. Policies, not principles.
Thank you. Madam Chair, as you consult, I would like the Attorney General to clarify on this. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Honorable Minister was making an amendment. Can you rephrase the amendment you're making?
I said we were on clause 2.
On the definition.
And I referred honorable members to interest of a foreigner to mean interests of a foreigner that are not aligned with the policies and laws adopted by government, not principles.
Okay. AG?
We agree with the principle that has been set out in the amendment. I think the issue is that government has policies, not principles, it has policies. So we want to amend that to read policies and laws developed and adopted by government of Uganda.
Thank you. I put a question that clause 1 be amended as proposed by the committee and further amended by the AG. Those in favor say, and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.